Paying rent in Hades' bone home. Bulls, crackheads, no shelter in the night. Underworld gates, that eternal fright. Denials echoed through torturous flight. Only face facts could have saved their plight. Lightning crack, no way back. Lost souls on brimstone track. Ignorance, gotta pay the toll. Zeus truth or face the dole. Charon's boats too full to float. Wails of the foolish on the underworld note. Denied a lick the end, decree now they tote. Eternal chains, no antidote. Gods convene, truth unseen. Demigods whisper, lost souls scream. Follow the path or drown in the stream. Zeus' wrath, a cruel dream. Dreams of torment echo loud.
Greetings.
Lost in sulfur, desperate proud. Zeus watches from Olympus cloud. Rejected truth, their fates avowed.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. You know what we came to do. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Happy Monday, all right? These Trump supporters know what time it is. Chocolate Star, good morning. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. Happy Mrs. B. Nice to see you. You know what we came to do, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you know exactly why we are here. We got to save this country, one day at a time. All right, seriously, because if we don't do it, who else will? Don't you love this country, ladies and gentlemen? I wasn't going to come live today, but you know what? We got to do what we got to do. I know. It's getting too spicy. I ain't even had my coffee. Yep. You got to get everything locked and loaded over here, all right? It's getting too spicy. I ain't even had my coffee. Good morning. Don't worry. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Shay, good morning. Good morning. Hi, Ann. How are you doing, Ann? The beautiful Ann. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday once again. We're back at the Thunderdome, and I'm your host. I'm your pilot. You know exactly why we are here, all right? But before we get started, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or some like to say Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. The second H is because I'm humble. And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because you've guessed it, I am and will always remain the most handsome. I don't get this guy, Trav, I don't get you. I haven't even gotten into my content. Would you mind coming up here real quick, Trav? I haven't even gotten into my content. If you're a Trump supporter, please just don't even say anything at this point. You have no idea what you're talking about. I will do all of the talking. Let me drive this broadcast where it needs to go, all right? Because we know what happens when we let MAGA in the driver's seat. Guess what? We're heading towards, what? A 1929 style depression. Thank you, Donald Trump. I already know you Trump supporters are a bunch of liars, and all the lies and things you cried about during this past election, you don't care about it. I already saw it, all right? So let's get started. What we do over here, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very special. We hold our friends. Well, I don't know if I want to call you my friends anymore. We hold you, those of you on the right who voted for Donald Trump, accountable for your dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as their crimes, right? And isn't it safe to say those folks on the right, they just seem to be swimming in crime, right? Good morning, Rick. All right. And so listen up. If you're a Trump supporter, all right, and you don't like the way this president right here, Joe Biden, and his vice president, Kamala Harris, have saved this country. Good morning, Mrs. Brooks. Good morning, Valerie. That they saved this country. If you don't like how Joe Biden has been running this country, do us a huge favor. Why don't you Why don't you just pack your bags and leave the United States of America and go over to North Korea or perhaps Russia? Any Trump supporters would like to go over to North Korea, swimming in joy that Trump is our president, silver tongued. I seriously doubt you're happy. Good morning, attacking. I have not talking. I have not seen. I have not heard of, and I've gone all over the world. There is not one Trump supporter who's actually happy that Donald Trump is going to be the next president again. You're not happy. You're not happy, all right? But before I get any further into this show, maybe you should follow the words of your leader, MAGA, all right? Because I really do believe you should leave America.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Do you hear that? You Trump supporters, you seditionists, treasonous traitors. Don't think I forgot about January 6th, MAGA. Don't think I have. I haven't done it for a while, but many of you know that's where a lot of my bread and butter came from on the show, right, Ange, right? What you Trump supporters did to this country on January 6th. Yes, RIP to President Jimmy Carter as well, right? That's definitely a huge loss for the United States of America. It seriously is. But make no mistake, all right, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when I get Trump supporters in here and I ask them a question. I say, so did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? And none of you will ever tell the truth about the 2020 election. You refuse to admit that Donald Trump engaged in an insurrection and is really disqualified from being the president of these United States. All right. And for some strange reason, you actually voted for this man. So you've taken away your ability to at least have a problem with criminals. I don't want to hear anything about Hunter Biden. As far as I'm concerned, Hunter Biden should be the next president. I don't care. If you go look at the court case in Colorado, they found that he participated in an insurrection. And actually, they used the word insurrection, all right? And that's why they were trying to disqualify him in Colorado. So it's in black and white. You know, in America, what we call America a paper bureaucracy, right? In order to get things done in this country, you know, they say the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, a lot of you Trump supporters, you can't read, so I guess that doesn't make sense to you, right? But if you could read, you would be able to find documents where they prove Donald Trump actually willfully participated in an insurrection against the United States government. All right, and so that's not debatable. All right, and I'm going to just say it because I think we need to make sure we don't forget how it happened. How did January 6th happen? If you could read, then you shouldn't be asking me any questions, all right? How did January 6th happen, ladies and gentlemen? I remember it like I remember the back of my hand, all right? I'll tell you how it started, all right? I haven't done this for a while, but I said, you know what? Let's give the people what they've asked for, all right? So January 6th, many of you know, it started with what I call the big lie. And what was the biggest lie Donald Trump told? And the reason we got to go through this is because I firmly believe what we lived through when Donald Trump was president the first time, we're going to live through it again, but it's going to be a lot worse, right?
Get out and vote.
Remember this?
Do those beautiful absentee ballots, or just make sure your vote gets counted.
Remember
Make
this?
sure, because the only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged. Remember that.
You hear that, MAGA? So that was in 2016. So he told you if he lost, it would be because it's rigged. All right. And we all saw what happened after that. All right. Instead of announcing to Joe Biden, to the American people after Joe Biden beat him, what did he do? He came out and insisted that he won to his supporters.
North Carolina.
Remember
Big
this?
victory with North Carolina.
Remember this? I have it all on tape.
So we won there. We lead by 76,000 votes with
Remember this?
almost nothing left.
No, it
And
wasn't.
all of a sudden, everything just stopped. This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
So that's Donald Trump lying to all of his soldiers. I call them the modern day Confederate soldiers at the time, and they pretty much still are. He actually tricked you all into believing that Donald Trump really won the 2020 election. And then guess what you all did? You all decided to exact revenge on the Democrats, right? And show up at the United States Capitol. And who invited you? Is there a Trump supporter out there that could answer that question? Who invited you to the Capitol? It's a sad day in America. I'll tell you who.
If we have a sea of people, if we shut down the streets, if we shut down everything, if we flood the Capitol building,
remember that?
Flood all the government buildings, go inside. These are public buildings. We own them. We own these buildings.
No, you don't.
Do you understand that? We own the buildings and we pay all the people that work in the buildings.
Who is this Tom guy? Tom, is there something you wanted to say to Big Zeus this morning? Because if you can't notice, Tom, I'm not in the mood right now. I'm very angry right now, Tom, because I understand what you Trump supporters are going to do to this country. We're heading towards a 1929 style depression, Tom. And you don't want to actually do anything about it except for worship your cult leader. Why don't you come up here, Tom? Otherwise, I'll ask my mods. Mods, please put Tom in a straight jacket. Because Tom is not learning. Tom is being what we call a disruptor. So what you had was Marjorie Trader Green. A lot of us call her the pipe bomber. All right, we know who she was, or she looks like that person. I can't say that, but that's what she reminds me of. And she invited you along with Donald Trump to the Capitol. And how could we ever forget the honorable words of Donald Trump's vice president at the time, Mike Pence, right?
Irrespective of the indictment, I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election.
This is Mike
Pence. And then
Pence.
On that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution. But I chose the Constitution, and I always will.
That's a Republican, by the way.
Anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States again. But what the president maintained that day, and frankly has said over and over again over the last 2.5 years, is completely false. I dismissed it out of hand, but sadly the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear. And I had hoped that on this matter of January 6th that it wouldn't come to this. Because I do believe that this is going to further ignite the divide in the country. It'll be up to the government now to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this actually represented criminal activity.
It was
but
criminal.
What I want the American people to know is that I know in my heart of hearts that I did my duty under the Constitution that day.
Yeah, and Mike Pence did his duty. Actually, you know what I want to do? Let's give Mike Pence a quick round of applause for that. I don't even like Mike Pence. But I'm so glad that he chose the Constitution over Donald Trump, unlike some of you. See, you know what, MAGA? There's going to be, when you take your last breath on this planet, I actually send you Trump supporters straight to hell on this show. But in all seriousness, when you take your last breath on this planet, you got to ask yourself, are you going to heaven or are you going to hell? Mike Pence took that question very seriously, and he said, there's just no way I'm going to put Donald Trump above the Constitution or Jesus Christ. But a lot of you Trump supporters, you've already done that, and there's no way of coming back. All right. And so you really do need to prepare for the afterlife by, booking a hotel perhaps or something like that in hell, because a lot of you are going to hell. And I don't care. People say that I'm mean. No, I'm not mean. I'm just having to be brutally honest with you, because look at what you've done to this country. I mean, we are literally heading towards a 1929 style depression. And on the way there, we're running into a lot of the things that we ran into when Trump was in office. And so that's kind of why I wanted to kind of get things or take things back a little bit to what happened on January 6th. All right. Because I want us to understand we're basically picking up where we left off, right? We left off with Donald Trump on January 6th. And you know what his supporters were doing. How many of you remember Ashley? No. Actually, I forgot to do this. Let's get what Donald Trump said right before Ashley did what she did. This is what Donald Trump said. A lot of them said he said go there peacefully and protest. I don't think I heard the word peacefully when he said this.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down.
Oh, you ain't?
We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
Wow.
Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely a prime candidate to be impeached once he is sworn in. They should just immediately swear him in and then impeach him right away, right? But that's what happened. And then shortly after that, we all remember Ashley Babbitt, all right?
Well, where is everybody? Huh? You got where is Kamala? Where is Kamala? Talking about ISIS like KKK.
This is Ashley.
You got this Margaret Kid. You know what? We have thousands of people on the other side of the border. You people can't get to work. Our economy is going to take an absolute tank because you guys refuse to choose America over your stupid political party.
There's an estimated over 3 million people here today. So despite what the media tells you, boots on ground definitely say something different. There is a sea of nothing but red, white, and blue, patriots and Trump. And it was amazing. You could see the president talk. We are now walking down the inaugural path to the Capitol building. 3 million plus people.
Yeah, so a lot of these people in my chat, even right now, we're basically in 2025. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there's still a bunch of MAGA demons in my chat that are saying this was an FBI-led insurrection. Do you really believe that this is an FBI-led insurrection, MAGA? Because I really don't want to have this conversation with you again. And I'm not going to forget January 6th. Razorback? No, you don't. Razorback? No, you don't. I know you don't believe that. You're a liar. Your father, Donald Trump, a.k.a. the devil, has basically made you a vassal of transgression. Prove to me that the FBI was involved. All right? Where were they involved at? Were they involved in the planning of the Stop the Steal rally? Was Ashley Babbitt FBI? You really can't give me any answers. And then actually the game over thing is, well, why is Donald Trump trying to free the so-called hostages if it's really the FBI, if it's Antifa? Why is he trying to free them on day one? You see what I mean, you Trump supporters? You're really not that brilliant. And that just that to me is going to be the theme of Trump's presidency. And it's already starting. Trump supporters, you really aren't that brilliant. That's kind of what I see happening. And that's really the only thing that's giving me a little peace at night when I go to sleep. I go to sleep at night and I sleep good because a lot of these Trump supporters, they say that they're winning. I sleep good knowing these people really think they're winning, but they're not. They're losing, and they're losing like no one's business. Like this weekend, I was able to go on TikTok, right? And didn't we get to do a free show? Talking about how Elon owned MAGA? Now, you want to know what's really presidential? I'm going to talk to the Trump supporters. I bring people up and I talk to them, but I wanted to get some knowledge and some information out here. All right, and you're typical as well. Wait a second, Trump's mind. Hold on. I'll bring you up real quick. Come up here and ask, and let's get some answers to your questions. Trump, and you're a typical okay, so I tried to bring this MAGA demon that's pinned up. Mods, you know what to do. Go ahead and put him in a straight jacket. Thank you. That's a Russian bot. When I bring them up and they don't want to come up, I just assume it's a Russian bot. All right. Quick update, ladies and gentlemen. President Biden today just released more support for Ukraine. We're talking about $2.5 billion in security assistance. Thank you. This is what a real president does. Yeah, I mean, someone has to stand up against Russia. We know Donald Trump would never do it, all right, because he's too busy grifting his supporters, all right? And so ladies and gentlemen, we're watching the glimmer of hope fade as Joe Biden leaves office, and we are once again ramping up for nothing but, as far as I'm concerned, modern day chaos. And what do I mean by modern day chaos? Well, you know what we're going to be covering in great detail on this show: mass deportations, tariffs, and cuts to your Social Security. Now, listen, to the Democrats, you have nothing to worry about because you did the right thing. You voted for Kamala Harris. So picking up where we left off with January 6th, ladies and gentlemen, all right, because we know what happened on that dark and dangerous day. We're now heading into the next level of these MAGA games that Donald Trump has engineered in his head, all right? And what is that? Let's talk about mass deportation, all right? Let's talk about that. Let's see what we have in terms of the latest update, all right? Suzanne in the chat.
For mass deportations is clear. Before Trump is even sworn, Trump's incoming border czar Tom Homan making sure the incoming administration's plan for mass deportations is clear. Before Trump is even sworn in as president. Homan says mass deportations will happen. Family separation is back on the table. In an interview with News Nation's Ali Bradley, Homan even encourages families to self-deport to make it easier, to quote, on the family.
How many of you want to self-deport? Any of my Latino brothers and sisters out there that voted for Donald Trump, any of you want to self-deport? That's a new thing. I didn't know that you could do that. Any of you want to self-deport? I mean, because it's coming whether you like it or not. Let me see. Who do we have out there? No one is saying they want to self-deport. Interesting. Well, Tom Homan says you probably should do that. That would save us a lot of money.
Their complication is if children of undocumented migrants are United States citizens. Well, what would happen then? Here's how Homan responded.
Having a U.S. citizen child does not make you immune to our laws, and that's not the message we want to send to the whole world, that you can have a child and you're immune to the laws of this country. We can't send that message, because if we do, you're never going to solve the border crisis, because they're going to continue to come. They think there's a way out.
Joining us now with more from our interview is News Nation correspondent Ali.
So what he's saying is, even if you have a kid here in the United States of America, that's not going to help you. That's not going to save you. Guess what? You got to figure out a way to live your life in another country, but you won't be doing that here. Congratulations. All right. And so on the immigration front, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to bring something to the American people's attention. This also is going on. A Colorado man, he's been charged with a bias-motivated crimes and assault after allegedly attacking a reporter and accusing him of not being a United States citizen while shouting, "This is Trump's America now." Wow. This is what y'all all voted for. Y'all heard about this story. This is picking up basically where Trump left off, right? Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You played yourself. All right. This is real stuff. This is happening.
Top stories we're following on CBS News Colorado. A man is in custody and charged with a bias-motivated crime after Grand Junction police say he attacked a TV reporter. Police tell us Patrick Egan followed the reporter, Jerron Alex's car from Delta back to Grand Junction. When they came to a stoplight, Egan shouted, quote, "Are you even a citizen?" among other things. That's when Alex drove back to the TV station. Egan got out of his car and followed Alex to the front door of the station, where he put him in a headlock, attempting to strangle Alex, who told police he thinks he was followed because he is of Pacific Islander descent.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, we're heading towards dark and dangerous times. If you're a minority or a person of color, you're not going to be safe. All right. Welcome to Donald Trump's America. If you were broke, because you were saying you were broke under Joe Biden, you're going to be super broke. All right. You're going straight to financial hell. All right. So, and this is all because these people in this country, they're under a strong delusion. They don't know how to think for themselves. Donald Trump controls them. So why don't we all do this? How about let's all do this together. How about we just send Donald Trump and his supporters straight to the lake of fire? All right, let's warm it up. Let's send them straight to hell real quick. All right. This is for all of you Trump supporters who can't think for yourself, right? And the hatred that you have for your fellow Americans, us Democrats, has clouded your judgment. And now you've actually voted to suffer. May you rest in hell. Let's send him straight there.
Silence, you.
You know what? I didn't get you for January 6th. Let's do it for January 6th, too. That's for January 6th.
Silence, you MAGA Damon.
All right. Now, let's see. If you're a Trump supporter, all right, and you want to come up here and somehow try to defend your daddy after I've just done that, what I would call that a college level course on who Donald Trump and his supporters are. If you believe that I got something wrong, please put a 1 in the chat. I'll bring you up, and I'll help you understand what I'm saying. But you got to be honest, all right? You got to be honest if you get in the box and talk to Big Zeus. All you did was speak truth. Thank you, Nick. I did speak the truth. Hey, Zach, are you okay? I sent you an invite. All right. Otherwise, Zach, honestly, just stick to being in the comments and just be quiet, Zach. Just sit your special behind down, honestly, and listen to this special broadcast, Zach. You have no idea, Zach, how your life is about to be in the crapper, all right? And you voted for this. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did downplay C-19. A lot of these Trump supporters, if you ask them what happened during Trump's 4th year in the office, they will not be able to give you a clear answer as to what happened and how Donald Trump lost the election. All they'll do is they'll make up things about Hunter Biden. They'll bring up, Twitter and the laptop thing. But they will never be able to explain what happened in Trump's 4th year. Because guess what? Your minds have been fried. It's like that movie Men in Black, Will Smith, and they had that light and they hit it with you and then you lost your memory. That's what's going on in the minds of you Trump supporters. And even if you sit here and you say, well, listen, there is this thing called the internet, right? And all you got to do is go look up the timeline, MAGA. If you go look at the timeline about the pandemic and you look at every step Trump made, all of his statements, it's crystal clear what happened. All right. But you can't do it because there's something inside of you that it makes you allergic to the truth. And that's why you need people like me, Big Zeus. Oh, this guy in my chat said you just said you sent a complaint to my boss, William. You sent a complaint to my boss on TikTok, William. What are you complaining about, William? What are you complaining about? Did I hurt your feelings? Well, William, if you don't agree with me, then you know what? Why don't you just leave? Like I said, right?
If you're not happy here,
this is for you, William.
Then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country,
William.
If you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
And that goes out to any of you, all right? Seriously, people come to this show every day when I go live, right? They come here because they know what the real is. They know what the truth is, all right? And they know that Donald Trump and his supporters aren't being honest with them. They know that what Donald Trump has done was duped all of his supporters, and slowly every single one of you are starting to find that out, all right? I mean, how many of you are following this thing that's happening on X with Laura Loomer, right? I mean, Elon, he's humbled her and her racist and her nasty behavior. She's begging for a blue check mark. She's begging Elon, please monetize me again, Elon. All I was trying to do was have a healthy debate and be racist, Elon, but I didn't think it was going to interfere with your ability to make money, Elon. And I thought you cared about us MAGA and our red hats, Elon, but it doesn't seem like you care about us, Elon. All you care about is making money. Donald Trump, please help us. We helped you win the election. And what did Donald Trump do? He said, you know what? Y'all better listen to Elon. Zeus, what you gonna do when TikTok is shut down? Sean Miller, come on up here. I'll help you understand what I'll do. All right. I mean, You sit here and I said, and like I said during the beginning of this show, I said I haven't spoken to a happy Trump supporter because you're not happy. You're miserable. You know every single thing that I'm saying is so true, and not just me, but other things that you hear some of my friends saying. You know what we're saying is true. You know Donald Trump is going to basically clean your clock. He's going to ruin you financially, right? All right, so listen, if you're a Trump supporter, we do not got all morning to do this. Please put a one in the chat. I'll bring you right up and we'll have that tough conversation. I'll help you see the light, so to speak, right? You want to see the light, MAGA? Come on. You can come up here. Texas, oh, you want to come up here? Go ahead. Yeah, I noticed you've been, always saying things and feeling like you got a bone to pick with me, but what is it? Hi,
What's
Texas.
cool?
How are you doing?
Wow, man, I'm doing pretty good, Zeus. How you doing? How was your holiday? How was your holidays, man?
It was, it was good. What can I say? This is our last Christmas with President Biden. The food and the groceries and utility bills are somewhat affordable, right? And so, what can I say? Nothing to complain about.
I hear you.
What about you?
Man, I had a great Christmas, bro.
Yeah, what did you do?
I stayed at home, man.
Oh, so you had a great Christmas under President Biden. Yep. I'm glad that you're willing to be honest about it. I'm glad you're willing to be honest about it. Are you willing to be a little honest about some other stuff too?
Yeah, man. Hey, let's talk about those job numbers revisions that they just released.
Oh, what do you got? What do you got? Go ahead. You lead the discussion. I'd like to know where you're taking this. Go ahead. What do you got with those job numbers?
It seems like the numbers has been cooked. It seems like they just revised about 500,000 of the 650,000 jobs they added, which means instead of 650, they only added 150.
And so, what does that mean to you? Because I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how that plays out in your world. Are you saying what?
Well, it's it's just like during COVID, all of the numbers are cooked. The books are cooked, man.
So what do you think is really happening, Texas?
I don't think that we've created as many jobs as this administration leads on. I think a lot of the jobs that Joe Biden claims were created were actually just gained back.
Bounce back.
Yeah, bounce back after COVID.
That's interesting. So why would President Biden lie? Why do you think Biden would lie to us about that? Do you think anything like this has happened under Trump? When they revised those, because I think it's just perhaps I haven't looked at it, right? But I'm just assuming they revised the numbers. Right, they gave us more updated and current information, perhaps. But do you think anything like this may have happened while Trump was president?
I don't know. I don't think it was as obvious as it is now. I mean, I don't.
Well, what if I were to say something like this happened while Trump was president? Right. He released jobs numbers, and he was like jobs, 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 and then months later, revised numbers came out. Then what? Yeah.
Okay.
What would your position? Would you still, basically the position you're saying, which is Biden lied to us? Would you say that about Trump? Would you really have the courage to say Trump lied to us?
Sure, if he did, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Biden administration. I said administration.
Oh, so Biden himself didn't lie. It's his administration.
Yeah, Biden. I don't believe that Joe Biden has been in control of anything for the past 2 years.
Okay, and where did you get that information from? Because I disagree with that too.
I feel like Joe Biden has been like Eleanor Roosevelt.
Well, you notice one thing you said. You said you feel like it. But have you at least read about what people who are working with President Biden have said about what he's like in private and how he goes about making decisions that actually impact us Americans, and even with his foreign policy, that actually impact us Americans, and even with his foreign policy? Have you listened to what some of these folks have said? Have you read any of the books they've written?
Yeah, Harry Sisson, he said that he interviewed Joe Biden and, he was sharp and that he answered all of his questions correctly and that they were all questions off the cuff. They weren't pre-given, and so that's all fine and grand, but,
Would you say Biden probably is a lot sharper than you?
No. Sadly, Biden is sundowning.
Well, Texas, a lot of people actually think he's a lot sharper than you.
Well,
and I am one of those that believe that, right? Because let's give you a situation. What would you have done? Say you were working in the White House, right? Could you imagine this? All right, go there. President, I don't want to say it to you, but we're on TikTok. I'll say it. President East Texas. Our intelligence agencies have confirmed something strange happening in Europe. Putin has amassed a bunch of soldiers on the eastern border of Ukraine. What would you do?
Why are they there?
That would be your question to your intelligence agencies?
Yeah, why are they along the border?
Okay, let's go look at that. And then they go and they run their data and they're planning an invasion into a sovereign country, Ukraine.
Oh no, I thought it was because of westward expansion of NATO.
Sir, you're the president of you're the sitting president. You can't sit there and say I thought.
Oh, okay.
This is a national security issue happening because whether you believe it or not, as president, you have to protect our national interests.
Okay,
so this is bigger than egg prices and bacon and stuff like that. Get serious. What would you have done? Would you?
Okay, so instead of asking, I'll ask this question instead.
Sir, you're the president.
Yep.
Okay, so let's answer this question. What would you? Because what I'm trying to see is, are you sharper than President Biden? And you believe you are. So I've given you a real situation he's had to face. He had to talk to people who are working in his administration, all right, and come up with a way to deal with this. I'm really curious about what you would have done in his situation.
I wouldn't have. I would have stopped them from invading Ukraine, but I wouldn't have been sending all of the money to Ukraine.
You would have what?
I would have stopped Russia from going into Ukraine.
How?
You can do all kinds of numbers of things that's not war based.
I'm honestly asking you, using the intellectual abilities you have, the tools and resources that you would have as the president of this country, what would you have done?
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, like, there's got to be some kind of trade talks that you got to, like, there's got to be some type of trade that Russia and Ukraine has going on that they could benefit if they were to have peace talks. There's got to be all kinds of different things that could benefit from, what's that D word? I don't want to say delegate. I can't think of the word right now. Basically, whenever parties come together and talk instead of go to war. You
mean negotiate or perhaps, try to, I don't know, de-escalate this situation? Is that where you're at? So
it'll come to me in a minute, Zeus.
Okay.
But diplomacy. Thank you. Diplomacy. There should be a way to handle all of these things in a diplomatic way, Zeus. It's 2024.
Okay, so now I have to go through the process of elimination. In your heart of hearts, do you think President Biden tried diplomacy? Because
no.
I don't think so. You think Joe Biden wanted to bypass diplomacy and get the United States involved in conflict?
Yes.
But doesn't that go against what he did with the Afghanistan conflict, which was he was trying to keep us out of conflict? That's why he went about and helped get us out of Afghanistan. He didn't want that.
Yeah, he did. Man, like
he didn't want to do that.
He'd been going around doing things the wrong way everywhere. I mean, so like Afghanistan, why did we pull out like we did? Why did we leave everything behind like we did?
Well, if I gave you the answer to that, I'm concerned you would still blame Joe Biden for everything.
Well, maybe so, but I mean, like,
But
Donald
I'll
Trump.
give you a hint though. It didn't start with President Biden. I'll
No, it
give you a
started with
hint.
Trump.
Okay, then. So
Trump had negotiations for a pullout and had a
right,
timeline behind that negotiation.
right,
And then
and
Joe Biden. So after Donald Trump lost the 2020 election,
oh, he lost it. Wow, thank you.
well, Tom
Thank you,
Brady.
Texas. Thank you,
Hey,
Texas, for
hey,
admitting that. Thank you for
you bet,
admitting that.
you bet, Zeus. Hey, Tom Brady admits to deflating the football, but they still won the Super Bowl. But
I'm not.
anyways, yeah, I know, right? Hey, but anyways, man, that's the whole problem, Zeus. Is that you look in one
but
direction and
but
say, well,
but
why did he do it this way? And then you
but
look at
Texas,
another. Go ahead, Zeus.
Texas. We're way away from my initial question, which was because you said you believe you're sharper than Joe Biden. But I want you to understand that we've been listening to you and the situation, what's happening with Ukraine, we really haven't gotten a plan from you in terms of how you would handle that. I get the Tom Brady
Diplomacy,
joke and
not
all that.
war.
I get the Tom Brady joke, but you have seen what the Biden administration has done in response to Putin invading Russia. I mean, Putin invading Ukraine. You see it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. We're in essentially a proxy war with Russia through
Are there,
Ukraine.
are there U.S. troops involved in? Are there boots on the ground in Ukraine? U.S.
That's
troops.
unverified.
No, but no, Texas. It
There,
is
I
verified.
guarantee you, there are U.S. troops there. They're just not there with a name.
Okay, so we can't use that as evidence then. I get what you're saying because I got suspicions and I could be a conspiracy theorist at times and I totally understand that. But for the sake of, what you say as a president matters, you can't say unequivocally that yes, we have stationed US troops in Ukraine and that they
That's
are
right.
directly engaging in conflict with Russia. You can't say that right now.
That's
So
right.
your answer would have to be no.
There's a reason for that, though, Zeus. This is Joe Biden's way of circumnavigating the Congress because Congress has not declared war on Russia.
Right. So if Congress hasn't declared war on Russia, then we don't have any troops there. That's just how this
That
works. Texas, you can't say it's this is the process, but then say, well, that's not really what's going on. We can't live in a world like that. You get what I mean?
Yeah, we know that's not right, though, Zeus. I mean, like there's troops in Syria too.
Yeah, you could confirm
I
that.
mean, that's just
Biden,
like
they announced it. They announced that. I mean, if
yeah,
you
they had to.
okay, it doesn't matter. They've confirmed it, they've verified it. But what I'm getting at is, so what would you have done to stop Russia? And I don't think you have an answer. And this is
So
where
I would have
this is
ensured
where I
Russia.
say, huh?
I would have ensured Russia that Ukraine would never join NATO.
Well, that's what was already on the table, right?
I understand
But
that, and
if
that's
you've
why
listened to
Russia
any,
is
if you,
doing what they're doing.
but no. Russia is all about the global order. They want power. And they honestly, if you haven't been following the rhetoric coming from the people who are surrounding Putin and Putin himself, they believe taking Ukraine is part of them reestablishing themselves in the global order. You
They're
understand
not
this?
trying to take the entirety of Ukraine.
Well, that's the difference between you and I. They are.
No,
That's
all they're trying to do is retake Crimea and the Donbass region.
okay.
Who, in matter of fact, the citizens of Crimea and Donbass who have held an election and voted to join Russia, and
Texas.
none of that's been
Texas. Texas.
Zeus.
I would encourage you to brush up on this conflict a lot more because I don't know everything, but from what I've learned, right? I thought like you did. Why would why would we be in this mess? Like seriously, why would all of this begin? And part of the issue is, one of the things you guys like to say is, well, he didn't do this under Donald Trump, right? You all
He
like to
didn't.
say that. But The reason he didn't do it under Trump was mainly because of the pandemic. He was very, very scared, Putin himself, of what that thing could do. So that was a pause for him, right?
Okay.
So once that pandemic thing kind of faded to the back, it was business as usual. It's time to go back. And if you go and read, all right, read about this. When President Biden found out that this is what Putin was doing, he said, this guy got to be crazy. He knows that in doing this, he's actually going to strengthen NATO. He's actually going to force NATO to get larger. So it didn't make sense to President Biden. Do you understand what I mean when I say that?
No, like, because ever since the 80s, man, like, Russia tried to join NATO. Do you remember that?
Russia? Yeah, I remember that. Yes. Hey, Cohen, how are you doing, bro?
Hey, how are you?
All
Holy
right.
cow, the actual Michael Cohen.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Zeus, how are you, my brother?
I am all right. I'm all right.
Let me begin by saying happy holiday. And I was just scrolling through and I was listening to your conversation with this in
Texas.
With Texas. And I wanted just to bring some clarity to a question that he had brought up about the United States and the withdrawal in Afghanistan and so on. And there's no need at this point in time to say, oh, it was done under the Trump administration and Biden was forced to do it and so on. No matter how you want to slice this, it was a sloppy departure, though it was effective. It wasn't effective when you have 140,000 people being extricated from Afghanistan. All right. It was sloppy, but it worked, right? Yep. No matter how you want to slice that. But he brings up a point here. And the only problem is there's a lot of misinformation that's being put out there. And I want to just give you some facts. First of all, remember that the United States has been in Afghanistan since 2005. So from 2005 through 2021, the United States gave to Afghanistan, and it was to the Afghan National Defense and Security Force, what's known as the ANDSF, $18.6 billion worth of equipment. 18.6. Now, he's not wrong when he says that in 2021, when they left, that they left $7.12 billion worth of equipment. Now, the one mistake that a lot of people keep talking about is that they think that that machinery was all operational. Number one, that was equipment that was given, again, to the Afghan National Defense Force. It wasn't U.S. equipment that we were using while we were there. That's a whole nother amount of money, from Apache helicopters to so on. All of that stuff was retrograded, meaning they removed all of the electronics into it, or they were destroyed. All right? Because believe it or not, it's cheaper to actually destroy it than it is to bring it back. Just imagine that shit.
Yeah.
On top of that, the stuff that was left there that belonged to the Afghan National Defense required Department of Defense contractors in order to deal with what's called specialized maintenance. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not as if these rebels are going to be able to use the bulk of that equipment, but they do have the equipment that's there. It's just either non-operational. Remember, you're dealing with a desert. So when you have desert and you have sand getting into the gears of a helicopter, me personally, I wouldn't want to be on that helicopter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. W. Cohen in the chat. So Texas, are you learning anything now? Texas, are you following what's happening?
I am following 100%.
And by the way, this is not from me just making up stuff. This is from the congressional report, which was a bipartisan report that came out. But I'm not going to disagree with him that it was a sloppy extrication from Afghanistan. But then again, how could it not be? I mean, we've been at war with them for 2 decades.
Good point.
You know?
So Texas, are you still blaming President Biden for that now? Or are you seeing the bigger picture that perhaps there's a lot more to it? and Joe Biden did what he had to do. Because the reason we're here, Cohen, is because I'm trying to get him to understand that Joe Biden is there cognitively. He's making decisions right now, even though they like to say he's Sleepy Joe and he doesn't know what he's doing. But he was very critical in responding to what happened in Ukraine.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm trying to get Texas to at least admit that. Joe Biden responded to Putin invading Ukraine, I would say, in a responsible way, as good as we could.
You know, it depends upon which line of the spectrum that you stand on here. If you are a Democrat, you're going to say, sure, you know, it's a great, you know, he did as good as possible. If you're MAGA, if you're a Republican, you're going to say there could always be more done. My only question that I would ask Texas would be, what more would you expect from a president to be able to do, right?
Thank you.
The problem is you're not dealing with somebody who is intimidated by the United States. Yes, we may have 12,000 or 5,000 nuclear warheads. Sure, that's great. We could split the earth in half if we decided to use them all. All right, but Russia has 1,200, so they could split the earth in half too. So they're not concerned. On top of that, not to mention, with all due respect, you know, Vladimir Putin has held that position now for quite some time. You know, he's got a lot of knowledge and experience. He has every intention of taking Ukraine. And
Wait a second, Texas. Did you hear what he said? Because did you say, Cohen, he wants to take Ukraine?
He's going to take Ukraine. It's not a question of if, it's a matter of
That's
when. Don't forget, my wife is Ukrainian.
Oh.
You know, she was born in a place, called Chernivtsi. I've been to Kiev dozens of times.
Why would he want to take Ukraine, though? Because the narrative out there is he wouldn't have done it if Trump was there.
Okay, sure. Whatever. You know, and if I was president of the United States, everybody would automatically get $500 million put into their bank account. There would be no disease in this country. Nobody would ever be afflicted by cancer or any other type of disease. No. That's what, listen, if you vote me in as president, that's what I'm going to ensure. Everybody has the best life until God takes them off this planet. You can make whatever sort of bullshit comments that you want. Vladimir Putin is hell-bent on reforming the former Soviet Union, because after he takes Ukraine, and he will take Ukraine, it's just a matter of time. They have more money, and Ukraine doesn't have money. What they have is natural resources. They have food, they have oil, they have, they have a lot, right? And Putin wants it. After Ukraine, don't think for a second that he's not going to be looking to take back Poland too. All right? He's not going to stop. He is going to keep moving forward, because that's who Vladimir Putin is. Vladimir Putin is a wannabe czar, plain and simple. And, let me ask you this question. I mean, I have kids who would be fighting age. I don't want my kids fighting a war overseas over that. And by the way, while Putin is interested in taking Ukraine and then potentially Poland and so on, you have China, who's talking about retaking Taiwan. You have the United States, who's talking about purchasing Greenland, all right?
Oh, my God.
And annexing Canada, at which you've heard me say many times on my own show, where I say that Trump will take Canada. And by the way, don't think that Mexico is off the table too.
Wow.
Because we won't need walls at that point. We will have the shoreline in order to determine our border. You're dealing with a group of people now who are isolationists. And that's what they want. I mean, think about Greenland when they say, well, it's important to our national security.
Yeah. They just
Zeus, I'm so sorry. I'm going to shut up for a second. But for 249 years, this country has existed without owning Greenland. So why is it all of a sudden in 2025 Are we now turning around and saying that Greenland is important to our national security? Why? Seriously? Why?
Want to answer that, Texas? Because this is your guy, Texas. I don't know what's happening, but you probably got some more insight. Why?
By the way, don't
Yeah,
say
I
he's
have
Texas's
no
guy.
clue,
He
bro.
was my guy. Don't forget. I
He
know
was-
him longer than everybody. I started the campaign in 2011. I paid and started the campaign. In fact, I found the original book. It's like yay thick, broken down state by state on what needed to be done. Instead of going against Obama in 2011, we decided to do another season of The Apprentice, where NBC was paying him $65 million for that season. So we took the money, but decided we were going to run again for the 2016 election, which we did.
Got it.
This is not a question about Trump, right? And so on. This is about all of us as Americans to allow anybody, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it would be J.D. Vance, Kamala Harris, it makes no difference. Why are we allowing our leaders to talk about annexing our ally, our closest ally, meaning Canada? And I don't mind it because half my family lives there, so then we'll all be Americans. I don't care.
Right.
But at the end of, why are we allowing this sort of, and why are we enforcing this type of conversation? Is really the part I'd like to ask Texas there.
Thank you. Texas, what do you got for us?
I mean, really, it's all rhetoric. I don't agree with it, Michael. I mean, I don't think that we need to annex Canada. I don't think that we should annex Mexico. I'm against expanding. It's just not good, man. I think we've made it this long, all individual. I think we could do things like strengthen our trade with Canada, strengthen our trade with Mexico. I think that there's things that we could do that we can strengthen each other's relationships. Immigration is a problem, and it's not Mexican immigration per se, but there's a lot of Venezuelan, a lot of Haiti, a lot of places that have sent violent people to represent where they come from.
So Texas, can I ask you, assuming that you were the guy that was running, right?
Sure.
What would you do?
Yeah.
What would you do? I'm with you 100%. I am all for immigration. My wife came properly. My father came properly, to the country. It took my dad 11 years to get his citizenship. I was 11 years old when he got his citizenship. And my dad didn't just come in and say, I need to. My dad was here teaching and working. He was a head and neck reconstructive surgeon. So it's not like he didn't offer a service. He was, at the time that he became citizen of the United States, he was chief of ENT reconstructive surgery at 2 major hospitals here in New York. So I'm not just talking about having some, just coming in and asking for a handout. He was married to an American with 4 children. 4 naturalized, born American children. I would ask you, what is it that you would do in order to fix immigration? Which, by the way, I'm 100% with you. Our immigration policy has been shit for at least 50 plus years. We've had problems. I'm with you 100%.
I agree. We need to shorten the pathway to citizenship. It shouldn't take 10 years for an individual to come to our country and become a citizen. Now, I don't think it should happen overnight, but
I'm with you.
So
I agree with you.
I think we need to take time and realize that these are people like you. They're doctors and lawyers, but also they're seasonal workers that work.
By the way, you're
California,
100% correct.
Florida.
You need those workers. Could you imagine if you didn't have those workers, who'd be working in those in the fields? As an example, your strawberries, your blueberries would cost $20 for a little packet.
I agree.
We agree today.
Listen, I believe that we, meaning Republicans and Democrats, have so much more in common and believe. We may have parts of the line that we disagree on, but I believe that all Americans want to see strong borders. I believe that all Americans want to see everyone have an opportunity to live the American dream. I absolutely do. Now, we may have somewhat differences of opinions on how to get there, but I believe that we all agree on the same thing. We all love our country, and we want our country to continue to be the beacon on the top of the hill. Am I right, Texas?
Exactly right. But here's my problem: is if I invite somebody to my home, they use the front door, and I'm aware of who they are. I'm aware of their name, and so I'll tell you something else. Whenever we bring livestock across the border, if we bring beef across from Mexico to Texas, every head of cattle is vetted for diseases, for all kinds of different, and so diseases for all kinds of different, and so just allowing thousands of people to pour over our border unchecked like that is dangerous. It's dangerous to our healthcare system because they, just for example, the southern countries like Mexico and Venezuela, tuberculosis is more prevalent in those countries than it is here because
but Texas, you're inoculated for TB.
Exactly right. They're not.
The crazy thing is the very first day that I got I was in prison at Otisville. The first thing they do is they give you another inoculation of TB. Would you imagine that? I mean, that was crazy shit. I was like, but I'm already inoculated. They said, it doesn't matter.
Yep. That's right.
But can I want to get back to this letting thousands of people in.
Sure.
I don't necessarily believe Joe Biden's administration has a mandate that just says let thousands of people in.
They do not have a mandate to just let people in. However, where Texas is actually correct about this is that the flow of illegal immigrants into this country is up over the Trump administration. Though, let me say this, the Trump administration, if Biden has 10,000 people a day, the Trump administration had 7,500 a day, right? It's not as if there was zero under the Trump administration. Under the Obama administration, there was 8,000 people a day. So we're talking about differences of numbers. Texas is 100% right here. Our immigration system sucks. It absolutely does, and it needs a complete and total overhaul.
I think we all agree. I think we all know that and agree with that. But the question then is, why hasn't it been fixed?
Because it's a very difficult issue, and every single president has kicked that can down the road. Now, I want to just ask Texas, then I just have to run, but I want to ask you this since, again, we agree on this. We just may have differences on the line. I am 100% fundamentally against separating children from parents. The whole Child Separation Act. We still have 1,400 children that have been separated from their parents, literally going back now 7 years. I mean, I remember once I lost my kid for about 8 seconds in a store. I looked around, I couldn't find her. I nearly had a heart attack. I can't imagine 7 years wondering whether your kid's alive or dead, whether being properly treated or being exploited. I mean, this is not right either. And that's the whole point. The way that the Trump administration handled that sector, I just thought it was cruel and inhumane. Exactly.
Also, I'd like to add that the last 2 years, homelessness went up 12%. And then 18% respectively over the past 2 years. Just in the last couple of years, all of the migrants that's coming here, we're not even helping them. They're coming here, and a lot of them ending up homeless. So, what's the point of us even bringing them here to be helpful to them when our homeless rate is now up 18% over just last year?
And if we can jump on one last topic with the homelessness, you know who many of those homeless are, which breaks my heart, and it's wrong and it needs to be changed too? Our veterans. Our veterans Shame on all of us. Anybody, as far as I'm concerned, you put your life on the line for America's Constitution, for our democracy, and we don't have the empathy within which to protect them. Whether it's emotional scars or physical scars, that's on us. All right. So, like I said to you, I think we agree on a lot more than we disagree. There's just aspects of what we agree and disagree on that's what makes us each unique and different.
That's right. I agree.
Well, I thank you, my friend, and you be well. I love Texas, by the way. So, Zeus, thanks for bringing me up. I got to go run. I got a recording on my own to do now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. W. Michael Cohen. That's what you call a drive-by on TikTok. All right. So I'm glad that we got that out there, Texas. And as you can see, I see that you're pretty agreeable with what Cohen was saying. So I think you might be on your path of recovery and getting out of the cult. All right.
I have never been in the cult, man.
No.
I'm just not. I'm opposed to blue. I'm not in the MAGA cult, bro.
Well, okay. Why are you opposed to blue? I think we went through immigration. It seems like you believe the border should be strong and secure, correct?
I do.
Yeah. Now, how we get there is a different thing. I think you had an opportunity with that bipartisan border bill to do that, but unfortunately, you saw how that unfolded, right? Trump didn't really seem interested in doing anything about that.
Yeah, that plays into what Michael was saying, that it basically they just kicked the can down the road for 50 years and never really tackled the issue.
So now that you understand that, will you please stop blaming Joe Biden? Because whether it's the conflict in Ukraine, whether it's immigration, you see it now for what it really is.
So, are you aware of the DHS memo?
Did you just hear my question?
I did. I want to answer your question with a question. Are you aware of the DHS memo of 214,000 unaccompanied minors that are missing in the United States of America?
I've heard about that. What is the point?
The point is that didn't happen under the Trump administration.
We just talked about families being separated under the Trump administration.
That was Obama's policy.
No. Oh, it was.
Hey, Zeus, we're having a conversation, and you know that everybody knows that Obama was deporter in chief, bro. Barack Obama deported more people than any other president in the United States history.
So Texas, this is where I'm not saying that didn't happen, but to ignore what Trump was doing, separating families, the cages. Obama built them. Yeah, Obama built them, but Trump is the one who went to war and did all the inhumane things with them.
I will agree with you, Zeus.
Okay.
Trump did continue to separate families during that era.
And it was inhumane. And even with what he's proposing to do now, with mass deportations, and you hear what Tom Homan is saying, he's saying, you know what? We'll send the entire family. It doesn't matter. So it's not that we don't see that there's an immigration issue, but do you gotta be inhumane in terms of addressing this? I'm not that kind of person. I don't know how you could be that kind of person, but it's, to me, one of the reasons we're very divided as a country, right? And then you said that they're bringing in cattle. I'm like, you can't liken people coming into this country like you're likening cattle coming into the country. That's absurd.
It's living organisms is what I was getting at, Zeus.
Well, humans and organisms are very, very different, in my opinion. I mean, we're talking about. They
are in stature, Zeus, but both of us have illnesses. That's just like bird flu right now. Birds have illnesses that cross over to humans.
But for instance, humans are the ones kind of running things on the planet. Birds aren't. We got laws and things like that. We got we're a civilization, in other words. So you just can't say animal is animal. You know what I mean? It's very, very basic. It's primitive in terms of how you're thinking about it. But these are the things that I think. I'm listening to you talk and I'm going, I don't think you're doing anything Joe Biden would Joe Biden probably hasn't thought about or tried. You know what I mean? And you got to give Joe Biden a lot of credit because whether you all want to believe it or not, when he inherited this country after Trump was done, we had that pandemic thing happening. He got us out of Afghanistan. Putin invaded Ukraine. He responded to that by strengthening NATO. We have an issue going on at the border. He's trying to be bipartisan in terms of trying to solve it. Outside of turning himself into a dictator, what else can he do? He's a modern day statesman. And you want to pick on him because he's up there in his age, but I'm like, don't you think you want somebody, especially when you're talking about Putin? You heard what Cohen said. He's been in that position for over 20 years in Russia. Don't you want somebody that knows all of that about Putin and is not going to be, green behind the ears when it comes to dealing with him?
I do agree that I do want somebody that has experience with the situation.
And Joe Biden has the most experience out of him and Trump. Think about this.
I mean, 4 years ago, yes, you can.
No. I'm talking about impact. President Biden, whether you like what he does or not, you can't say his years of service to the United States, to this country. You can't say that he doesn't have that.
This is a man. Years of service. I mean, he's the youngest. I think he was the youngest.
And yeah, you're right. At one point when he came into Congress, right? He has way more years of service than Donald Trump. He knows all the players that are playing the game, nationally and internationally. He knows how Congress works. So if there's things that need to get done, he knows the game. That's why he was able to get so much done in such a small window of time. Right now, think about this. You say Joe Biden isn't smart, and then I know I got to move it on. But the situation that he has Trump in right now with the debt ceiling, you see this, that's happening, right? Trump wants the debt ceiling to go up.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not with it.
Biden has him in a situation where it'll have to go up under him. It ain't going up under Joe Biden, right?
I agree.
That's genius. That tells me while Trump is out here playing these little games, these little, identity politic wars and stuff, Joe Biden is working the United States government and using all the tools in his toolbox to get things done and outmaneuver Donald Trump. Trump has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't. If he did, he wouldn't need Elon. If he did, he would not have needed Elon. If Trump really knew what he was doing, he wouldn't have to resort to doing things that are questionable or some of us say illegal. He would just be able to utilize the tools he has to get things done. He would have no problem getting Democrats. Actually, he would be outsmarting Democrats, just like Joe Biden has been outsmarting the Republicans. He'd be able to show people like, you know what, I really do know how to govern.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't understand that though, Zeus. I mean, so each party does this, man. I promise you, if any Republican came out today and said that they supported legalization of the cabbage in their state, I guarantee you they're going to gain support from people from the left.
Maybe on that particular issue, but I think there's a lot more that people on the left believe in that differs from the people on the right. Even though we probably believe that is a problem, I think our approach is going to be way different. Way different. And I don't think cabbage alone is going to change how a person feels, honestly, about Donald Trump.
No, I don't either. But I'll tell you another situation. AB. Okay, if a Republican was to come out with common sense rhetoric about AB and about and not banning it, they would gain support.
What would be common sense rhetoric about AB? Because imagine, and again, what I like to do with, when people say things like you're saying it, I'm trying to say, is this person really, absent of what political party you're in, are you actually bringing real solutions?
Yeah, man, I think that we need to have acceptance issues for things, like R and SA and things like that, which are really already in place.
What about things outside of that, though? That could be, linked to women needing that kind of reproductive health care. Because I don't think the average man, especially me, I'm speaking for myself, you have no idea how a woman's body, what a woman's going through with her body.
Sure don't.
You don't. And if you cared enough, you would probably go to school and learn, but you probably haven't done that either.
I have learned. I do understand a lot of the processes behind all of that. I'm pretty educated about that.
More than a woman?
No, not more than a woman, but more than a typical man, Zeus.
I'm not saying that you don't have some knowledge and understanding about things, but you don't live it.
No, I don't. I've already conceded that.
So to me, right, it would be like, it's crazy to have somebody that's not in it telling me how to go through it. Does that make sense?
I understand that 100%.
Like for instance, I don't like getting into identity, but like I'm a handsome person, right? I'm a very handsome person. Let's just use that, right? So I don't want anybody that doesn't understand the struggles that come along with being handsome like me, trying to give me kind of, tips and tricks on what to do and how to live my life, so to speak, right? Because it would be almost hilarious to actually take them seriously. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
So that's to me, if you're talking about a Republican coming out with common sense, there's really only one solution. There's really only one solution. You got to let women do what they need to do, bro, and get up out of there. You can't sit back and be a quarterback on things like that. This is serious. These are serious things that women go through. I've spoken to women, and there's things that come up, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know that. And I think I know a lot. And when it comes down to it,
they go through.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, I look at it like this: like, I don't want anyone telling me what to do with what I'm doing with my body. Period.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah. So that's what this is about. So there's really that's to me the only common sense solution. You guys got to get out of people's business. You guys got to really back up what you're saying. If you're saying you're for smaller government, well, quit making the government bigger so you can track women in their bodies.
Right. Man, I agree with you on that. I don't.
Well, then Well, then you should stop voting for things that you don't agree with, Texas. Seriously. All right, now let's see. Let's see. We have a few people who might want to come up here and talk to you. Do you have a little time on you, Texas?
I'll talk, man. I don't care.
All righty then. I'll bring up Q Dog real quick. All right. Hi, Q Dog. How are you doing?
Hey, good morning, Zeus. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. Just having a conversation. Seems like we're making progress with Texas today.
Yeah, I've been listening. Go ahead. What were you saying, Texas?
I said, what's up, Q Dog?
Hey, what's good with you, man?
Don't know it, man.
Some of the things that I wanted to address when Michael Corn was actually on the panel. We continue to talk about the border, which definitely it needs to be secured or whatnot. But some of the things that we are missing when it comes to that, and I'll give you an example on how things can get corrupted in a system when you're trying to do the right thing. Say, for instance, you have the prison system. Now, we know that the prison guards are supposed to be there to make sure that the prisoners are doing what they're supposed to do, make sure they're where they're at, and they're no craziness that goes on in the prison system. But in reality, we know that a lot of times the prisoners are the ones that's really running the prisons versus the correction officers and so forth. And you have a lot of people that get on the payroll when it comes to prisoners and whatnot in order to get contraband in and so forth. So it kind of simulates to how do you keep corruption when you have people that's supposed to be in place to make sure that the borders are secure from folks getting back over here. Because at the end of the day, we know that the government, they know about what comes over here as far as, and I'll use TikTok friendly, contraband and so forth.
Sure.
From the cartel. How do you keep that under control when you have people that want to do the wrong thing? And people don't, they forget about that. And be like, oh, we put everybody in place and everything's going to go correctly, when we know in history that's not how it is.
No, it really isn't, man, and it's not a cut and dry discussion, really and truly. I
Exactly.
think it goes back to the time that it takes to become a citizen. Also, I think let's go back to the cabbage conversation. Let's say that all 50 states, it was legal to carry cabbage as much as you wanted, wherever you wanted. Okay, so basically the mules that come across the border, you could focus on the mules with the more harmful substances like fent.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, I
and
know.
I
I know
think
where.
that's where I think that's where an issue lies is that we allow fent to come across the border and focus so much on the cabbage.
Yeah, because you got a lot of people that look the other way. Okay,
Exactly right.
feed my pockets, I'll look the other way. I'll turn a blind eye to it. And
Exactly right.
that's one of the things that we're going to be going up against. Say, for instance, there was a situation that's under investigation now. I believe it's in the Georgia. I think it was a New York prison where they unalived a prisoner, which he was in there for a felony of unaliving, but they beat that man to be unalive.
Yep.
And it's caught on camera. And the thing is, you got some people that just don't even care. They could be on camera, not be on camera. They could be recorded, not be recorded. They're investigating why the audio was not present. The visual was present, but the audio was not present at the time of the unaliving.
Yep.
Once again, like I say, you can put as many people as you can in the place, whether it's in the government or whether it's on the borders or whether it's in the prisons or whatnot. That doesn't mean that individual is going to do the right thing. And I take that all the way back to what I was saying before about you have a lot of triple Ks that have turned in their pointed hats to become judges, become senators, become lawyers, police officers. They don't care because they think, okay, I'll do this. I'm going to roll the dice and see if I can get immunity. And that's the problem that we have nowadays with a lot of these small hick towns where they're like, oh, well, I'm an officer. Well, I if I explain myself the right way, or if I have somebody to have my back, I'll get away with it and I'll be okay. That's a big problem.
So
Yeah, it really is.
So Texas, here's the thing that I'm kind of perplexed about. We have these situations, and I think we can all agree that it's just probably getting kicked down. The can is being kicked, so to speak, down the curb, right down the road.
Sure. 100%, both sides.
So I think that really we got to get past this point where you're blaming the Democrats. You said you have a problem with blue, but it doesn't seem like you really do.
I have other issues with blue than immigration. Immigration is,
Well, you don't have an issue with us about immigration because we've agreed it's not really a blue issue. So what else you got? And then the AB issue, you said common sense. We agreed we probably should stay out of women's issues, health issues like that, right? Because most men don't know what the heck's going on. So what else? The Ukraine conflict. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, I don't think you would have done anything different than Joe Biden. So
yeah, now Ukraine. See, that's if we go circle back to Ukraine, are you aware of who Azov Battalion is?
I know who they are.
And you still support Ukraine?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well,
I mean, I don't get this.
So again, you're the president of the United States of America. Let me ask you again. Russia, in your opinion, is your ally?
No, not my ally.
Okay. So you have this superpower, so to speak, basically trying to steamroll its way all throughout Europe unchecked. Which do you think is more of an issue in terms of national security? That's my point.
I mean, I get it.
So let's not trivialize things that are going on in terms of the national interest of the United States. My question then became, well, what would you have done? And I don't think you would have done anything that proved you had a better solution than President Biden. What we can look at and see is, hey, you know what President Biden did? He at least strengthened NATO, right? He got NATO to expand, which boxed Russia in a lot more, right? That was their whole thing.
Exactly the problem, Zeus.
No, it's not.
Because yes, Putin requested that NATO not expand eastward. Did he not?
That was his premise.
Putin said if X happens, Y is surely to happen. And then, lo and behold, X happened. And then Putin did what he said he was going to do, and now he's the devil.
Wait a second. So this is where I say you believe Putin could tell the United States hypothetically what they can and can't do. Number one.
No.
That ain't how this works. Number one, we know that, right? Number two, he said, I got to do this. I think this is your X and Y thing. I got to go in because NATO's getting bigger. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay, so he goes in. Guess what happens? NATO gets bigger. It wasn't NATO got bigger, then he went in. It was he went in and then NATO got bigger. You see what I'm saying?
No, they're already in the processes of trying to expand NATO to Ukraine.
They didn't, like I said, there we go again with you speculating. Whether you want to believe it or not, NATO, more countries joined NATO after Putin invaded Ukraine.
Exactly.
Prior to him doing that, they didn't do it. So it doesn't add up, is what I'm saying. What you're proposing was his reason for going in. This is why Biden was saying, doesn't he see that if he does this, NATO's going to get bigger? Biden didn't want to believe this is what Putin was doing. It made no sense on paper. The casualties.
Yep.
So I don't buy this.
So why the casualties? So why are we keep sending them weapons?
Because
to make casualties.
Well, number one, you got to look at what Biden's policy is in terms of defending a sovereign nation, right? And it isn't just Biden. These are other countries that are a part of NATO, right? And they're saying, oh, unchecked aggression going on in Europe. Whether you want to believe it or not, we have evidence that shows we eventually are going to have to confront this and may possibly have to put boots on the ground. So in order to prevent from having to put the boots on the ground, let's go ahead and address and confront Putin about this right now. And Biden did try diplomacy at first. If you go and read about it, he did try diplomacy and Putin lied to him. Oh, no. I'm not going to invade. No. I'm just doing something. Don't worry about it. But meanwhile, our intelligence agencies and all of our satellite data, it showed Putin is structuring himself to invade Ukraine. So we don't trust you, Putin. And you know what is even crazier? A lot of the people in Russia that work with Putin didn't know that's what Putin was really going to do. They actually believed what Putin was saying.
Yeah, Putin's always been the one that smile in your face and plot behind your back. He's always been that way. He's never changed. The one thing that I have a question about is that not necessarily Republicans, but MAGA is totally a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You got Republicans, you got MAGA, and it's always this well, the blues against the reds, like we in LA with the B's and C's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like, I mean, come on. And with some MAGA, they traded in the N word for the blues. We see it. We know what they want to say, but they're trying to be politically correct when it comes to that. Or in lovers, we know what it means. So we got to stop that rhetoric.
That's so true.
That is told, because at the end of the day, all Republicans have not done the right thing. You understand what I'm saying? But I never hear anything on a negative note when it comes to MAGA about what Republicans have done wrong in any administration. Not just
That's a good point.
Obama or Biden, any administration. But
Well, a lot of this started with Reagan.
But you constantly hear time and time again. I mean, you got Lincoln owned slaves. Come on.
Yep.
So you got to think logically when it comes to how you put out a perception for a certain set of people, because and they constantly say on each side, well, we shouldn't have racism and this and that, but that's what you're doing it, but you're just doing it in a political way. That's all. All you're doing is spewing out racism in a political way.
Bingo.
In many instances, a lot of people are. I mean, I'm
well,
not going to deny that.
Well,
Not one bit.
in many instances, what side of it is it really coming from? The aisle.
I mean, you talking about identity politics?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both aisles, man.
It's the same thing. It's like I say, when I stated before, the only difference is they're not out there saying white tea power with their hoods on. They're in the courtrooms. They're in the police.
Jermaine, please hush, Jermaine. You don't know what you're talking about, Jermaine. You're lost.
And people
you're
think,
lost.
See, the ones that think I'm saying something in a negative way, those are the ones that are part of the problem. So I'm not fazed about people like that, because they are part of the problem that I'm talking about.
I agree.
Right is right, wrong is wrong, period. And you got to be able to call it out on both sides. If you can't see things that are happening wrong in your own party, but you can see everything that's wrong with Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and the Democrats, that should be a red flag as far as I'm concerned.
And how many of them in this chat that think I'm speaking negatively, how many of them actually do believe in God? That's the kicker point right there. How many of them really do believe in God? Because if you do believe in God, then and you think that way, that's between you and God on the day of your judgment.
Amen.
It's not for me to judge you. But what I'm here to say, and what Zeus is here to say, is we got to stop with this side and that side. The B's and C's, the R's and B's. Come on, man. How many years you got to go through that where you're blaming each side, instead of trying to come together like VP Harris was trying to do for both sides, Republicans and Democrats, to come together.
That's what she said,
to find a solution.
Did she say this?
Play it for him, Zeus.
I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me to put country above party and self.
What was wrong with that, Texas? What was wrong with that statement? See.
I mean, it's a great statement, Zeus.
You didn't. Was that a bad thing for her to say? You disagreed with her about that?
I sure don't.
When have we ever heard Trump say that at all? It's all about power. That's the reason why he got Elon Musk. Money is power. When you have the money, you have the power, and you have the controlling situation. But one thing that we do know is money is also the root of all evil. So
I'm blown away. I'm blown away, Texas. I'm blown away by the fact that you know what Kamala said was the right thing to say. Right? Trump's never said
Okay.
anything like that.
Never once.
Doesn't
And
that
neither has
isn't that a
followers.
cause for concern?
When have you ever seen in a Democrat rally someone that came over that got beat down?
I can't wrap my mind around that,
I can't.
Texas.
I'm talking about not just with this election, any election.
DJ, no, he didn't say that. Cut it out, DJ. We don't have any audio of Trump trying to unite
When have we
the
ever?
United States.
I challenge anybody, any MAGA in here, to bring up video footage of any Democratic rally for presidency that it turned out violence on Democrats on Democrats. We'll
We'll
wait.
never find it. Yeah.
Come up to the panel. We'll wait.
Yeah. We don't have it.
Prove me wrong. But we see it time and time again with Trump rallies because of the people that follow him. Birds of a feather flock together. When you got white supremacy, white supremacy, and you have racist people that don't like you just for the color of your skin. That's all this is really about with the border. They don't care about that. People for generations and generations that think like that and have a mindset like that. See, black folks know.
Yeah.
Our
Do you think
ancestors
folks
know
can
because
change?
we lived it. Day in and day out. We lived it. And the
Do you
fact
think
of the
folks
matter
can
is,
change,
people
Q-Dog?
that think like that, they're never going to change because they teach their kids that. Just like I saw in the store that I was in. I don't know if you were in there when I made
No, he
that
didn't.
comment, but Zeus knows about this. Little boy couldn't have been no more than about 3 or 4 years old. No more than about 3 or 4 years old. Why is everything in China? Now, explain to me. Toys are a lot of toys are come from China and whatnot. But everything he pointed out, why is that China? Why does that say China? Why is everything coming from China? And she's steadily trying to hush his mouth. Stop talking, stop talking. No, you taught him that. Or either he picked it up from you having a conversation with another adult. Kids, all they are recorders. You
Yep.
teach them, they are taught by what they see and what they hear. And when you put something in front of them, they're going to believe it because that's mommy. Obviously, what she's saying is true. That's daddy. Obviously, what he's saying is true.
Yeah.
So Q-Dog, do you think people can change, man?
People can change. Michael Cohen is a prime example of that. But the fact of the matter is, the people who can change, they gotta want to change.
Bingo.
That's the point. It's not whether or not you can. Anybody can change. You have a mind and you have intelligence.
Bingo.
You know right from wrong. If you want to change, it's up to you. But
Amen.
guess what? We have a motto with our fraternity. You got to seek the knowledge.
There you
Point
go.
blank.
There you
If
go.
you want-
Now listen, I gotta move it on, YouTube. We're getting progress, it seems, today. All right. Now, any last words, Texas, before I move on? All right. You've been I'm impressed, to be quite honest. This is the first time I've actually seen you in rare form. I'll call it rare form. All right. You seem reasonable, but I think there's some questions that I think I'm going to need you to really think about going forward. All right.
I understand that, Zeus, and I may seem more reasonable because you seem more reasonable.
So you're saying leadership starts at the top? Got it.
Yep. Honestly, I mean, like this is your platform, bro. I mean, so like before the election was over, like your content was combative and even edging on bullying and things like that. And then now after the election is over, your rhetoric is toned down and you're more willing to have a reasonable conversation. I didn't get thrown into the fire 5 seconds after I was here.
Well,
You know,
let me ask
we
you a quick
actually had a
question.
conversation.
Let me ask you a quick question, Texas. Are you familiar with biblical? I mean, I'm not 100%, knowing the Bible from
I don't believe
start to
that.
finish. But are you familiar with the Bible?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the
Okay.
Bible.
You familiar with what Jesus did in the temple?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So even the one person that is pure has a
He got
moment
angry.
of anger because you're doing what you're not supposed to do. And that's the reason why Jesus went in there and destroyed that temple.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then he went right back. He went right back to preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
So you
So
got to look at it like that, where you have people that are doing harm to his people. Because at the end of the day, we all are God's children.
Amen.
And if you're doing something wrong, guess what? He's gonna let you know.
yeah, Texas, I've been Triple H since you've known me, bro. Honest, and sometimes honest means harsh. Humble, yeah, I got that in the hand. I've been this. I don't think it's really me that's changed. More so than you're probably starting to come to your senses about a lot of the things that we've been saying. Like, yeah, okay, Democrats didn't win the election, but they've been making a lot of common sense points when you sit down and think about what's happening right now. Because you're seeing it already even before Trump assumes office. That he really, like we just said, leadership starts at the top. It doesn't look like he's really a good leader when he's already got people within the cult fighting amongst themselves. Over, as Q Dog keeps bringing it up, racism. It's the one thing that I thought was going to unite MAGA, but it's interesting that now Trump supporters are realizing there's a group of people in this country who are immigrants that are making a lot of money, and they will never make that kind of money because they're just not qualified. And when it comes down to it, Trump sides with Elon. That's a tough pill to swallow. And I've even seen things where they've said this is all part of the Democrats' plan to get MAGA to divide itself. And I'm going, that's some crazy master manipulation cult belief system where y'all think Democrats got that much time on our hands to trick y'all into fighting among yourselves with Elon over racism. Come on. So, I know this has been a very long conversation, but I do got to move it on you two. All right,
I got one more thing to say for the chat and for Texas, Zeus.
go for it.
So they are clear on this. The one time in my entire life, like I say, I just turned 52 on Christmas Eve. The one time in my life that I saw nothing but love. I don't care where it was. There was no violence. There was no race. Well, the racism was put away temporarily when C-19 took place and when they started seeing people's unalive one by one by one by one, and this is on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
When they saw it happening, see, the thing is, when God puts something in front of you that you can't handle, and you don't know when your next day is going to be, you're going to be called, whether it's home or downstairs, you get scared. Then you want to start to repent. Then you want to start to show love to your brother, your neighbor, and your brothers and your sisters and whatnot, no matter what the race is. But when he puts that in front of you to say you could be the next one on the list, it could be tomorrow. It could be in 2 hours. You don't know. Being scared at that point in time, I wish this world could get back to that point where they don't have to see any type of devastation like that. Like I say, like I tell you, Zeus, all the time, I lost my father to COVID, C-19.
Yeah, and I gotta move it on, Q, because you can monologue quite a bit, brother. I'm gonna need to move this on, champ. I love you dearly, bro.
I'm gonna dip on both of y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Q Dog. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you, Q Dog. You too, Texas. I love you both. But listen, Zeus has a show to run. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to be mindful that other guests got to come up here. All right, this is a big thing. People have been really getting on me about it. But so, thank you. Now I do what I want. All right, because I got to run the show. But you got to try to get it in and out, ladies and gentlemen, so Zeus can get on about his morning. All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Good morning, Nutty Professor. I see you, Val. I want to talk to you. Nutty, what do you got for me this morning?
What's good, brother? I won't be long because I'm at the gym right now.
Stop it! You know? Stop it! Hey. You ain't at no gym. Stop it!
Hey, I can turn. I have no issues.
You turn my camera on. Turn it.
So I'm on this treadmill right now.
Okay. Because it sounds like things is getting real shaky over there, bro. I mean, listen.
I'm on the treadmill.
Okay. So, oh Lord.
See, I was trying to get up here to talk to Texas because he gave us a new English language called circumnavigating.
Okay. I'm listening.
And so
I
want to say this.
Wow. Let's go.
I want to say this. Texas, I know you're still listening. It's not the fact that Zeus was being hateful. It's not the fact that Zeus was being anything other than calling MAGA out on their BS.
Bingo.
And the reason it sounded so hateful to you is because you weren't trying to hear it. And now that the election is over and you're going to get what you voted for, it's a little bit easier for you to hear now because in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, was Trump still your president? That's what you're thinking.
Bingo.
And so I'm actually impressed too. I got to give it to Zeus. Zeus, you're right. I'm impressed that number one, you had that kind of conversation with East Texas.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Because East Texas, you've gotten thrown into the lake of fire because you deserve to be in the lake of fire. The fact that you sat there and you listened. Now, we're going to see if any of the information that you got today, if it's going to retain and stick. We're going to see. That's to be seen.
Yeah.
However, you've been giving a plethora of information, sir.
Yeah.
Now, I hope you take the opportunity to sit in it and to let it marinate and to think about what you've been told today. To think about what you've been told.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And don't believe anything that you've heard, Texas. I need you to learn how to fact check it yourself. Because you need to understand that what you're being told is truth. But don't just take our word for it. Fact check us. And anything that you find us to be wrong on, come back and say, yo, this wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't right. So the one thing that I will say with when Michael was up here, the only reason I would agree with him about Putin being able to take over Ukraine is because Donald Trump is going to the White House. And Donald Trump is not going to do anything to stop Putin from taking Ukraine. Because Ukraine is not going to have the support that Ukraine has today. They're not going to have that in 21 days.
Wow.
They're not going to have that. With an all-Republican Congress coming in, House and Senate, and the presidency, they're not going to get that type of support that they've had the last 4 years.
Let's hope that they do because, some folks out here, I don't think they really, to your point, understand that the impact of this situation with Ukraine could be very bad for us here in the United States if it goes in the wrong direction. I don't think a lot of people get that.
But they may not get it. But here's the thing: you brought up a key. I think it was you or Q-Dog. Money is power, and the fact that Elon Musk is having the effect on our government when this sucker has never been elected to nothing, because these Republicans are so enamored and afraid of Elon because of his wealth that they're listening to him, and it's affecting legislation. Look what happened. Zeus, you brought it up a little bit earlier about the debt ceiling.
Correct.
Why do you think we were having this turmoil with the debt? It's because Elon opened his mouth.
Yeah.
Elon opened his mouth, and the people, our lawmakers, who are supposed to be protecting us, they listen to a billionaire.
Bingo.
And the fact that we're going to have 15 billionaires coming into this next administration, Texas, do you really think that they're working for you? They're not working for the American people. It's
Rick in the chat. Go for it. Thank you, Rick. Rick.
It's always self-interest. They could give a hill of beans about you, Texas, but yet you're gatekeeping for a club you will never be allowed into, my brother.
Woo-wee. Tell him, Nutty.
You're gatekeeping.
But he's learning. I know you're listening, Texas. I mean, Nutty's a lot harsher than me, but I think you're listening.
Oh, I am, because I'm not gonna mince words.
As G-Man likes to say, I'm not as nice as Zeus. G-Man.
Yeah, I'm not. And,
Go ahead.
And you're gatekeeping, and they love people like you, East Texas, because you're ignorant.
Oh, Nutty.
No, it's not harsh. No, stop. It's not harsh. It's true. And whoever said the truth didn't hurt was a doggone lie. The truth hurts.
Maybe he's deceived. Maybe
you're ignorant. No, you're ignorant.
He's maybe deceived.
No, you're ignorant. How do you combat ignorance? Is you start educating yourself.
Don't leave, Texas. You don't need to leave. If it doesn't apply to you, Texas, just focus on because there's some truth in what Nutty is saying.
No,
all right.
I'm speaking all truth. You're ignorant. You're ignorant to the fact because Texas, you didn't even know and it's pronounced Donbass, not Danbass. You didn't know what the Donbass region was until you heard it in a talking point. You didn't know what NATO was until you heard it in a talking point. You don't know international law. You don't know international relations. But yet you want to get up here and act like you do. I don't even know all the things that I need to know. So I get in spaces and I continue to learn. So ignorance is just a lack of knowledge. So that's why I'm not going to change my wording, because it is a lack of knowledge. Now, where it becomes offensive is, how long do you want to stay in your place of ignorance? That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. Because when I'm ignorant about something, I try to educate myself so I will no longer be ignorant for that said thing.
We all should do that too. We all should. You never should stop learning.
I'm not coming at East Texas. I'm not coming at him with the iron fist trying to downgrade him. I'm just speaking the truth. You're ignorant.
Well,
it is what it is.
Everyone has the
if
perspective.
You don't want, no, that's not a perspective. He shows it every time he gets up in the box. So if you don't want to be ignorant, educate yourself. Today was a great start for you, East Texas. It was an amazing start for you because you literally sat there and you listened. Now we're going to see how much it retains.
Thank you.
But today was a great start for you.
Wow.
And with that being said, because Q, I love you, brother, but you are a Baptist preacher.
Q knows what we're talking about. What did
he was a Baptist preacher that says, and give me 2 more minutes, and that 2 minutes turn into 2 hours. You a Baptist preacher, brother. So since Q took some of my time, I'm gonna yield back whatever balance I have.
Fair enough.
If I don't talk to you before Wednesday, man, listen. I hope your 2025 is more successful. It's more profitable. It's great.
Yeah.
2025, and I'm speaking blessings. I'm speaking prosperity. I'm speaking good health. I'm speaking everything your
for
heart
everybody.
desired that
Yes.
is good.
Yes, Lord. Tell them, Nutty. God is good. Right, Doc?
Because we speak these things into existence as though they were. And we know in 21 days, hell is coming back to earth. But you know what?
What's that?
We can counter hell.
Yeah.
We can counter hell. So be not weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not.
Amen. Amen. W Nutty in the chat. Boy, I tell you, these folks this morning, I don't know what they ate. I don't know what. Somebody said Zeus needs to go back to the timer. Yeah. I honestly, I was thinking about that over the weekend. I said, the family's gotten a lot bigger on TikTok, so I don't think the people who were here that are newer knew about all of that, right? All right, and so yes, because a lot of people are like, Zeus, wrap it up, Zeus. Seriously, I'm like, okay. If you are a Trump supporter, please put a 1 in the chat. We'll bring you right on up. Go ahead, put a 1 in the chat. All right. We'll bring you. Good morning, Val. How are you doing, brother? Good morning. All right. Yeah, there used to be, huh?
You had a fun one. Looks like.
Yeah. You saw we had Texas up here, and he seemed like he's starting to wrap his mind around some things. But I have a feeling there are some things that we need to work with him on. Is that what you think?
Oh, you would be reading my mind.
Thank you. W Val in the chat. Thank you, Casey. Yeah.
First off, let's deal with the jobs numbers.
Okay.
So under the Trump administration, he had a slight raise in jobs numbers over the course of his time through 2018 and 2019. But then he lost all of that in 2020.
Oh.
He's the only president ever to leave office with a minus job figure. That's so there's that. And then you put into place that there was 148,000 jobs, you know what I'm saying, in thousands each month added in 2021, 2022, 124,000. And then that started to level off. Wonder what might have done that. We'll get into that in the next subject.
Let's go. W Val in the chat. Y'all know Val always brings facts, data, and statistics. This is why we have to get out here. Thank you so much, Val.
Right, but then it levels out, which is what it should have done after that kind of situation. But the truth of the matter is he added 331 million new jobs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Okay, so those will come and go over the course of the years. That's where numbers get kind of weird in this situation because these jobs come, they go. Some are part time. There's lots of deals with these numbers. But the fact is he still had them, and that 333.1.9 in thousands is the highest we've been ever.
Wow.
Okay, it's the largest job growth ever.
So why is he getting worked up over the numbers?
I don't know. I don't know what that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that's all about. But the next one was homeless, and that was the one that kind of got me the most because people don't understand how homeless are counted. Everybody thinks they hear the word homeless and they think they are on the streets, right?
Right.
That's their thought. Unsheltered people in families, 3%. Sheltered people in families, 25%. Sheltered individuals, 35%. Unsheltered individuals is 37%. That is so only 40% of that total number that you hear when you hear the homeless world is actually people on the street.
Oh, only 40%? Interesting.
Right. So it's understanding how homeless is counted. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Under the Obama administration, when he, in 2012, and he brought this down every year he was in office, we're at 621,553 total homeless people in the country. Okay? 2013, he dropped it. 2014, he dropped it. 2015, he dropped it. 2016, he dropped it. Ooh, now it starts to get interesting. 2017, it went back up. 2018, it went back up. 2019, it went back up. In 2020, it went back up. 2022, it went back up. 2021 was not kept because the office was not in place.
Oh my God. And what happened to the office?
Well, that would be C19.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, but in 2022, it stayed about the same, 2,000 difference between 2020 and 2022. And in 2023, it went up again. So what would cause homelessness to go up in the situation where people were having to lose their homes and then move in with other family or friends? What would cause something like that? I would think more about less about jobs and more about housing prices.
Oh. Wait a second. What was the housing crisis?
Let's see. In 2018, you deregulate an industry, and when you deregulate that industry, you create corporations capable of buying homes. In 2019, in April of 2019, you have companies that belong to BlackRock and other investment agencies that spend $50 billion as an initial investment to buy single family homes.
Wow.
Because now they can purchase them at day one. So now you've put the American people head to head with corporations on buying a home. So that's the first thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing.
You can't, the average person can't compete with a corporation when it comes to buying a house. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Now let's talk about the second thing that raised. Let's talk about tariffs. This word we keep liking to throw around.
Yes.
Let's put tariffs on Canadian lumber and steel and see what happens to the U.S. housing market. I don't know. I think it's going to be more expensive to build a house at that point. And when you talk about the amount of lumber and steel that goes into a house or a building or whatever the case may be,
yes,
it is going to get much more expensive. You're talking about a country, you're talking about a country from 2017 to 2023 or 2023 that rents literally doubled. Literally doubled.
Wow. So why do these people like Rick, this is a guy in the chat, his name is Ricky, he seems to think he won. You see what he wrote? Ricky, Ricky, come up here real quick. You think you're winning. Could you please come up here and explain to Val and I how you are winning? All right? And we don't got all morning to do this, all right? Because did you hear what he's saying? It's going to cost you more. He doesn't want to come up here. Okay, well then there you go. Little Hawk got you. The only way to get out now, Ricky, is to send a guest request. Please keep on teaching, Ricky, Val, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and so that covers pretty much the homeless thing. Housing is the biggest part of the homeless issue that we have today. It's not jobs. And then the other nice little one that he brought up, of course, we talked about the Azov battalion, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that. There's a nice little article, you know what I'm saying, that was done by a university. It talks about, the Azov much about nothing.
Oh, really?
Okay. And what you need to understand is when you talk about neo right-wing groups, you know what I'm saying? I think that's the best way to put that. You talk about neo right-wing groups. Maybe you want to look under your own roof before you start going after another country about neo right-wing groups. Okay?
Ooh, W, Val. Texas, did you catch that, Texas? I know you came back. All right. I know you heard what he just said, but that was a very valid point to make.
Because when you talk about this, what we're really talking about is a group of people that were in another country that are, that do believe in that neo right wing, you know what I'm saying, type of policy, just like we have here.
Yeah.
That march the streets of Tennessee and Ohio and, and walk around and we say nothing about it and act like it's all good that they represent Trump. That may be something you might want to think about. But these are the things, you know what I'm saying? These are the things that are going on.
Yeah.
And these are the same type of people that are over there. But you know what? We have those kind of people in our military too. Imagine that.
Ain't that funny? That's sad, but they don't talk about that.
They don't talk about that, right? So, that's really what this is. It's people that are really fighting for their own country. I don't care what their beliefs are. Those are things that can be fought after the fact. They're over trying to protect their life.
Yeah.
Period. That's what this is. So please stop with the rhetoric on that. It's just dumb at best.
Bingo. I mean, we're learning over here. I mean, and this is exactly why we are taking time out every day to make sure the information sinks in so you can't continue to run around here and say you're not informed.
And then the last one was the bipartisan border bill, right? We heard immigration a lot throughout the whole thing.
Correct.
So any Republican's argument on border policy in this country ended on May 24th of 2024. And that is when y'all decided that a single man that wants to run for president on an issue that could have been fixed that very day decided, nope, we're going to continue it on. And since you did, you now took 50 years of misery, like Cohen said, because he was not wrong in that statement.
Yeah.
You took 50 years of misery that both sides of this aisle have been fighting for that entire 50 years to get better border policies in place. And when
Yeah.
you had the actual chance, you said no.
Wow.
Republicans have no more argument on the
And,
border.
and that is why when they come up here and they try to make their grievances, whether it's about immigration, whether it's about what's happening in other parts of the world, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why don't you at least call this part out? All right. If you're talking immigration, why would you think it's acceptable? They like to use the analogy of leaving your front door open. Why would you say it's acceptable for Trump to leave the front door open? But if Joe Biden does it, he's incompetent, he's sleepy. The door's open.
Now, one thing I will push back on Michael Cohen on is he said that no president has ever tried to address this. Mr. Cohen, I want you to remember that Joe Biden's very first bill to Congress was a border bill.
Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you. I remember that bill. Yeah. And so, isn't it safe to say that Republicans are profiting? Let's just say the border is open. Isn't it safe to say that Republicans are profiting from the open borders?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what really needs to be said in this situation, you know what I'm saying? If you're smart and took left and right, this is one thing Cohen was actually right about. If you actually take left and right out of the mix, it's corporations that are profiting from this. That's the reality. It's the reality we've known since the Reagan administration when Title VIII was executed.
Yeah. Now, one last question. The H-1B visa. Could you explain to us how that process works and why most of these Trump supporters probably won't ever be able to make the money that those people make?
Well, education.
Oh,
start there.
Education.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and get the breakdown on this real quick.
Yeah, education would be a start, but this is another corporate profit center, right? Because we don't have the people. I've been saying this for a long time. Y'all keep saying we need to give these jobs to American people, and I always ask the question, who? Who? Okay, which American people are educated in the subjects needed? You know what I'm saying? In
what
these
subjects?
Industries to move forward. There's a lot of them. It's not just, a lot of people have pointed this to IT, but it's not just IT.
Right.
Okay. IT is a big portion of it, but it's engineering. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's medical. It's a lot of different fields. I mean, we are losing doctors and nurses that both are down in college. Of people trying to become doctors and nurses from the American
what are people trying to become in America if not that? I mean, isn't it what are these people really doing that the average person probably somewhere in the middle of the country, middle America, can't do? It just doesn't add up. I went to school, I graduated, I'm smart.
Right, a lot of people in this country, and and I hate to say it this way, they really I think kind of believe it as a lottery system. I don't know how else to really put it. I mean, you have to get out, you have to get your education, you have to work, you have to do what you need to do, and you need to move up through the systems that you live in or born out. People also need to do a better job in education. We used to do this in the 80s, believe it or not, guys, 70s and 80s. When people were in primary school, we would actually, people would actually work with students to find out where they best fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In job markets, and where would be their best education points. And we used to take those educations. Now, we don't really do that anymore. We don't really have a big sector of people in primary schools that help people find their way from primary school into college and what they should really be taking. Right now, if you just go to college and you pay your $100,000 and say, "Hey, I want to learn how to be a doctor."
Yeah.
Well, they'll just take your $100,000. You may not become a doctor. Chances are, actually, believe it or not, good you won't.
Nasty.
But these are where, you know what I'm saying? These are where these things come from. this is this is something that has to be addressed in this country. If we want to increase our education system, we need to quit being in the 20s from K through 12, and we need to get back to first.
Bingo. That's really what America First should be. Now that you say it like that, Val, I really agree with you. Okay. Well, listen, Val, it was a great time having you up here once again. I think since you've been around, you've scared every Trump supporter in the chat. They go, I don't want to get in there and have a serious discussion, all right? Because we know Val is out there and he's gonna basically bring a lot of receipts. W Val in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. No lies. No lies.
Thank you, everybody.
All
and
right.
Thank you, Zeus.
You're welcome, as always.
Have a good day in the kingdom all and a good new year.
All right. We will, and you too, ladies and gentlemen. Again, let's give Val another round of applause. No lies detected. This is what we're all about over here. We're about bringing the truth and freeing the minds of those who found themselves in bondage. Because a lot of you got to stop it. I mean, from what Q-Dog, Cohen, Val, what we're all saying, Nutty, y'all all really do need to start looking into these issues and really doing a deep dive and asking yourself, is the information that I'm being spoon-fed by you know who is the guy that I'm talking about? Who you know? You got to ask yourself, does this make sense?
The stock market is only up because they think I'm going to win. And if we don't win, according to many people, including one of the greatest Wall Street prognosticators, Scott Bessent. Has anyone heard of him? One of the most brilliant guys on Wall Street. If I don't win, you will have a 1929 style depression. Enjoy it. I believe that.
Does that make sense?
I believe that. I believe it.
Does that make sense? You got to start thinking, how does he have the vision to say stuff like that? Good morning, G-Man. Welcome to the show, my brother. All right, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, the last few days of the year 2024.
Yes.
Say what's up, Zeus? How you doing, huh?
I am all right. We are carrying on and still getting the truth out here to the American people. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
G-Man on live. This is what we like to see. Can up.
Yeah. Your live since over the weekend is very interesting. Especially
really?
One, Venezuelan. I really want to talk to him.
Oh.
Latino. But anyway, the one that came with from Texas.
Yeah.
Budapest Agreement back 30 years ago. Back at that time, Ukraine has a bunch of nukes over there. Probably one of the biggest nukes.
Yeah.
Third underneath Russia and the United States and all that.
Yeah.
They made an agreement.
The Budapest
with
Memorandum.
Russia, United States, and all that.
Amen.
And we had agreement, and if something happened to Ukraine, we provide aid, regardless of who was in the White House.
Amen.
And Putin being bullying around his neighbors, former Soviet Union republics like Georgia, well, emphasis in Georgia, a few other places.
Moldova, he's trying to Moldova,
and all that.
Yeah.
East Texas, Billy Bob. I always call you Billy Bob for a reason. You don't want to inform and educate yourself why to have that.
Yeah.
Like Zeus says earlier, I'm not nice. I know about Donald J. Trump better than you, East Texas, because I'm born and raised in New York. I'm 60.
Yep.
I know about his house discrimination. I've been telling you Billy Bobs and Becky's in Georgia and Alabama, Florida, all that. You got to look at his controversies and his flaws.
Yeah.
But they don't want to hear that. They don't want to. They want to know that like he's never existed.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. But I'm telling you, people like East Texas and your fellow Billy Bobs and Becky's, and what happened a few days prior to the weekend, I was laughing and enjoyed of it. He don't give a flying F about you. He don't care about you. He about himself. All the people, he's easy to be bribed with Muro Doneros, you know?
Ooh, boy, Doneros.
Yes. So what you said earlier about Elon Musk, he would listen to him and Swami about bringing migrants that had a degree to come fill in their job. They went hysterical. I was eating popcorn.
Yeah.
It really shows me, majority of you guys don't want to tell me on this app in person, but I had that vibe anyway. You were being a racist. You want somebody to look like me, darker coming country. Just be straight up,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an independent. There's few things, Zeus, I might disagree. Most of the time we agree or not, believe it or not, but you might disagree with few things, but I respect the man.
Yeah.
And I don't go off into my feelings or like into your feelings because you might disagree with this host. If it's in doubt, check it out. There's an old school saying, look and do your research, find out it's Zeus and everybody. It brings information. Same thing with me.
Bingo.
But I mean, it's mind-boggling. What I got my early Christmas present. I didn't know it's gonna be earlier.
Oh, really?
The final stage.
Oh, really?
And I was laughing and giggling until your Billy Balls and Becky's.
Me too.
I enjoyed every bit of it. It's just an appetizer of what's coming up once it comes sworn in. Yeah, it's gonna affect me too because I'm gonna let you know about the tariff. If you push it that tariff, it's gonna affect my job. Because I work manufacturing, blue collar, busting my back, living a paycheck, blah blah blah. But we got some of our raw materials from overseas besides here.
Yeah.
So it's gonna affect me. I'm more concerned about my employment. I'm up there. I'm 60. Who's got to hire my old butt once I be terminated?
Yeah.
It's gonna be harder as you're older, get them.
Yeah,
So
we all were.
You guys don't think about that.
They think Donald Trump really looks out for them. They think, oh, we wear this red hat, we're good, we're safe.
I'm gonna let you know this. I have people, Trump supporters in real life. They think that Trump is getting a violent part of the class, upper class. And I say, yo, man, the billionaire rich folks don't give up your country, hillbilly, Billy Bob, blah 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 blah.
They don't.
They expendable. I mean, they don't care. They just use your vote, your fear tactic, and get what they want.
Yep.
Divide and conquer from the elites. Between us, hardworking Americans, divide of us, and they're eating popcorn joy. But it said unite for a common cause.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, and Zeus, you try to talk to them. We had a lot of things in common. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
But you fall with that rabbit hole. You may maintain white supremacy. It's East Texas, I deep down inside. I think you got a little bit of prejudice because you don't like the border. Being Latino myself, you don't want somebody to Espanol coming in and you're afraid to be a minority in this country. Let's be straight up.
Yeah.
They be straight up to the point. Majority of them, and he talk about most of them about crime. I'm gonna tell you what happened in Georgia when it took that young lady tragedy in Georgia. To me, any perpetrator do the crime, do the time. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time here, they had a white female that SA8 someone underage here at the same time.
I
What's
heard
the outrage on that. And they passed the law to easily profile somebody look like me. The Billy Bosbeck, they used that the excuse to pass a law in Georgia to look somebody profile like me. Like I'm the freaking boogeyman. And I'm Puerto Rican, U.S. citizen, Army veteran here. But you Billy Boss classified the same. But what's the same energy where your Billy Boss did the mass pupils? Not even a day school starts here in Georgia. By your own peers.
W. Jessica. W. Jessica.
Energy, you know,
Thank
just
you.
me saying it. Most people commit crimes of U.S. citizens, like it or not.
They don't say anything about
it.
it.
Got a border issue for decades, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I've been saying this since when Reagan passed the amnesty in '86, when I was running uniform U.S. Army. So Zeus, I know you got a lot of time up. It's almost 12 o'clock, my friend. I ain't gonna hold your time, but you say you and all the people that came before me, that spec before me, thank you for stealing my thunder. But I want everybody had a safe last few days of 2024. I want everybody to start a new year right.
Yeah.
Stay belligerent. Stay passive. Keep what you're doing best, bro. You don't trigger nobody. You're one of the best. I think you're speaking for me because you could tolerate some of these folks better than I do. You and Ange and a few other creators on here, and I appreciate you follow me.
No problem, bro. Anytime.
Keep up your passion, Zeus. I want you. Keep what you're doing. I want everybody else like Nutty Professor, Bounce.
Amen. 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 Amen.
Everybody that follow me, keep what you're doing.
Amen.
And keep it up. We got 2 years. We started right now. Get ready for midterm selection.
Bingo.
And remember, regardless what aisle they're supposed to represent us, not all the way around.
Amen.
Ray, thank you for your time, Bruce. I know you got to go, man. Thank you for your time. I love your show. I love your passion. Keep with the faith. Don't worry about these haters. Haters will be hating.
Amen, amen. WG, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate ya. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to that point where, yeah, FAFO is really what's going on, all right? That's clearly on the menu. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do got to get up out of here. You know what? You all deserve this, a W in the chat. Thank you to all the guests, moderators, and panelists. Thank you for all of you who have had the courage to be able to get up here and actually let your voice be heard. It really does mean a lot. W Tara in the chat, all right? We got a long way to go, all right? We've made a lot of progress, but we still got a long way to go in order to save this great, great country of ours, all right? But I also want to say this. We got to give one last round of booze and shame, and this goes out to all of the Zeus haters out there, and they know exactly who they are. They come in and they sit there and they say things in the chat they don't believe. They spread lies and misinformation, all because they have an extremely toxic case of Zeus derangement syndrome. You got to put an extra S on it because it's really disgusting what these people do on this app, especially when it comes to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the lake of fire for these Zeus haters. And they're not just my haters. They're actually your haters too. Right, Tiffany? The beautiful Tiffany and Cabria. These people, they hate you, but they're trying to get to me to get to you. It's so weird. Let's send them straight to hell. Let's give them a round of booze and shame.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe. I'll be back tomorrow, same Zeus time, same Zeus channel. Take care and stay safe. What a great show. W Alter Ego. You're a Democrat, but you're an interesting one. Ready, thank you. Cleopatra. Let's go. Little Hawk. Excellent work, bro. If they don't get in the box, you gotta teach them. Because I don't want them to say anything. Right call as the days. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. All right. Let's go. W, Cabria. I saw your Cash App, Cabria. Thank you so much. W, and W, Cabria again. You dog. I'm going to have to give you a call, bro. I really am. I'm just behind on all of that stuff. But keep up the great work, bro. All right, seriously. East Texas. You're coming around, Texas. I will be honest with you. I was definitely surprised, but you got to think about it. Are you really smarter than President Biden? I don't know. You got to trust your people that you hire. And if they say, look, hey, thank you. Dark Scorpion out. Little Miss, I see you. Let's go. Pinky Pink is still here. That's what we call connecting the dots, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be able to connect the dots. Hey! Little Miss, conservative. Tiffany, what do you call them again? What do you call them, Tiffany? SDE? All you Trump supporters, you really should be subscribing to every Democrat live that you go into, because what we're doing is teaching you. All right, let's go. Cold as the day. Thank you. W fake. Make sure you Little Miss W Little Miss in the chat for the train. If you click the link in my bio, you'll be able to go find all the things that Zeus does, alright? You'll be able to find the music. You'll be able to find the YouTube. Alright, but you gotta subscribe, seriously. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my man Curtis, you're there. I saw you, Curtis. I didn't know you were here, but since you're here, Curtis, I got it for you. All right, Curtis, since you're here, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
nothing but against the party.
Oh, no, never mind. I'm not going to do that for y'all, but y'all see what I was about to do. Let's go ahead and get this going. What do we got?
Kamala Harris, in about a year and a half, we always go back. She can't help it.
Let's go, ladies and
She's
gentlemen.
a radical left Marxist. She can't help it. But we're going to end that.
That's the days! Yes! All right. Y'all get y'all towels out. Y'all get your rags out. Get your rags out. We got to drill before I get up out of here. Get them out.
We're going to take out so much money. We're going to pay down our debt.
We're going to pay it
We're going to
down.
lower your taxes too.
Let's get ready.
Insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter.
Let's go. We're going to frack.
Wave it around. You know she's gonna bang. Let's go. Over there she was against stacking against all the stuff and then all the stuff and then all the stuff.
Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta start it off with the drilling.
She said I like fracking very much.
Right hand.
They always go back.
Hey, Tiffany, where you at, Tiffany? Cute over yet?
She's a radical left wing. She can't help it.
Hey, and we're gonna end that. And we will frack, and drill, baby, drill.
We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drilling so deep. We're gonna be for these guys. We're gonna drill. We're gonna take out so much money. We're gonna pay down our debt. We're gonna lower your taxes deep. Insane asylum. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill, baby, drill. We gonna frack.
Hey, you gotta be able to do it, Maria. Woo! We cooking it today. Wow. Hey, I'm not seeing. Am I the only one sweating out here? Hey, we gonna.
Insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter. Okay, they say, why would you mention Hannibal Lecter?
Why?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
Oh.
Deep insane asylums.
Right?
You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. Drill.
Let's go. Lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You dog. My brother, the late great Hannibal.
Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drilling. Drill, we're gonna drill down like the.
Hey.
Like it's Hannibal Lecter. Drill, baby,
Drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal. You go crazy when I say that? All right, I can help you. Tell them Tiffany.
Drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time.
You gotta be able to do it.
Drill like it's Hannibal Lecter.
Right hand.
Drill
like it's Hannibal Lecter.
Time.
Woo! We're gonna lower your taxes. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously, I gotta get out of here. All right, take care and have a great rest of your morning.